Okay, previously we have learned how to create different type of fluids, including natural gas, an aqueous chemical solution, a live oil sample, mud, how to clean a contaminated reservoir fluid from mud contamination, and how to add a water analysis report and create a produced water sample. In this section, I'm going to explain how you can use the mixed fluid module. So this mixed fluid module can be used to mix different fluids and create a new fluid out of that mixture. So for example, uh, imagine that you have a gas composition and you have a dead oil composition. So you have created a natural gas fluid and a dead oil fluid. And you want to mix this gas and dead oil to produce a live sample. So you have a GOR, or you have you know the mixing factor, weight mixing factor, molar mixing factor, and you want to mix these two fluids and create a live sample, or you have created any sample before and you want to add something new to it. For example, you have created a dead oil sample or a live oil sample and you want to add this produced water fluid that you have created before to this mixture and make another fluid which contains that live oil sample and produce water and perform hydrogen calculation. So to do that, you need to go to the fluid management tab here in the upper ribbon and select mix fluids. When you press this button, as explained before, the features and options in the mixing fluid module will be shown in this panel. In this panel, you have three tabs. The first tab is the parameters, and then it's the units, and then it's the calculation settings. Because it's excuse me, because in mixed fluids, the thermodynamic engine doesn't employ. So if you change any settings here, that doesn't change the results because it's a simple mass balance. And but okay, let's go back to the parameters tab. So again, this is the parameters tab, this is the units tab, and this is the calculation settings tab. So let me go back to the parameters tab. In this panel, you see different options. You see a drop-down menu. In this drop-down menu, you can see a list of fluids that you already saved on this active database. So this database, HydraFLASH database, is now active, and you have these fluids saved on this database. If I change this database from here, yes, I want to switch, okay, and press this mix button. It says that create or load a composition first because I haven't saved any composition in this database, so I receive any error. So if I have created any fluid on this database, the panel will be shown here, and you can see the list of fluids. So let's create a sample fluid here, just methane, and add this, and that's it. No, okay. So if I mix this, now press it again, I don't get the error because I have one fluid saved on this database and it shows me only one fluid. So if I switch back to the HydraFLASH database, yes, and then go to mixed fluids again, it shows me all the composition that has been saved on this database. Okay. Let's go back to this mixing fluids and see what are these options. You can see you have this drop-down menu here that shows the different type of amount basis you can mix different fluids with. So for example, if you want to add two fluids with different amount basis, you can choose an amount basis here. So for example, I want to add this chemical solution fluid to this natural gas. So first I select natural gas and I tell HydraFLASH that I have, for example, 70 grams of this natural gas. Or I can say, okay, this is the volume and I have 100 cubic feet. It's too much probably, so it's 50 cubic feet or liter or cubic centimeter. I have 150 milliliters of this natural gas, and this 150 meters is kept at this condition, at room condition. So let me change it to 60 degrees of Fahrenheit, standard conditions, and 1 atmosphere. So it is important when you enter the volume, you need to put the conditions as well, because you know the density of gas and or the density of liquids change with pressure and temperature. So when you enter the amount basis as volume, you need to enter the conditions as well. So I'm telling HydraFLASH that I have 150 milliliters of this natural gas, which kept as at the standard conditions. Or if I have a cylinder that is kept at, for example, 500 psi, I put 60 degree lab temperature and 500 psi. So when everything is ready, I press this button, add to mix. So now you can see this button, a natural gas, 150 volume, the unit is cubic centimeter at 60 degrees of Fahrenheit and 500 psi. Now I want to add some chemical solution to it. So I choose chemical solution. And then I change the volume to gram. I said, okay, I'm adding 20 grams of this chemical solution to this volume of natural gas. And if you notice that when you change the amount basis to mass, these options are now disabled, because it doesn't matter as long as you give the mass. It doesn't matter that how much is the pressure or temperature. So I add 20 grams of this chemical solution to this mixture. Now I have 2. If you want to add anything more, you can add them just like the way I explained now. And if you want to remove any, just press this this button here, which removes any fluid from the mixture. Now when I have everything ready, I can press this one, this run button. It would mix them. Let me do that. Okay. Now, as explained before, in this panel, this section, you will see the numbers, the grids, the graphs, everything. So the mixing fluids, so added fluid information, I had a natural gas kept at 60 Fahrenheit degrees and 500 psi, and I had 150 milliliters of it, and I had the 20 grams of this chemical solution. Now the composition of the mixture will be this, and this is the mole fraction. Because I had some salt in this chemical solution, now I can see the weight percent of the salt in the aqueous fluid. Now I have this option. I can either export it to Excel, which it creates an Excel file which contains all this information. I just let me show you how to do this. Just press create button, ask for a name for this exported file. So I call this first exported file, and I need to define a path to save this file. So I choose my desktop and then OK. So it shows the path and I press save. As you can see, it created this Excel file, and now the Excel file is here. So let me close this file for now. The Excel file is here. Okay, so again, you can copy this content to any Excel file or notepad, whatever you want, or you can save this created mixture to the database. So when I press this button, it will open a new window, and then I can press create new, and it will create a new composition. Okay. So let's remove these mixture and make another mixture. You see that this mixture is, because it was just created, it has now been activated. So if I change it here, it will be appeared in the list of fluids I have created on this database. Okay, so let me add this natural gas to a reservoir fluid. Have this reservoir fluid, sorry, natural gas. You can add them by mass basis. For example, 100 grams of this, and then I have 100 grams. I have 200 grams of the live oil sample or mole, whatever you have. Add to mixture, and then press run. It shows you the final composition of the mixture. And then again, you can add this composition to the database. This is very useful when you want to see how much GOR. So for example, you have a natural gas and you have a dead oil, and you want to know if you mix these compositions with different amount bases, if you combine them differently, what would be the results? It will show you. You can easily do that with this mixing fluid mixture, or whenever you want to know the effect of different water samples on one gas or one hydrocarbon fluid, and you want to know what will be the effect on the hydrate phase boundary, you can mix these that different chemical solutions to one hydrocarbon fluid and see the differences in the hydrate phase boundary. So in the hydrate phase boundary section, I will do that, and you can see how I can do this. For now, I just showed you how to use this mixing fluid module.